This is Joe Crispin, former Penn State and professional basketball player. You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
I think you said that he could have gotten more separation.
There were some technique fundamentals in receiver that weren't perfect in the 80s. I had to throw in a few points of critique.
What was it like playing in March Madness? I mean, we have it going on right now.
But playing there was amazing. I mean, like, that's kind of your whole goal is to just be a part of that. It's such a special thing where the whole country is tuning in and anything is really possible, you know.
You know, my optimistic side said, like I said, that we're going to be okay. We just had a bad game. We're probably experimenting a little bit, ran into a good team. So.
If Miami came to our house, we would probably, if anything, win. We wouldn't get blown out.
When you first started playing football, you know, did you always want to play in college?
No, I was growing up. I was a big baseball guy. Loved baseball. And then 8th grade, I remember I got a call from my uncle, Coach Nagel. He's like, hey, I got the job. And I was just like, all right, I'll play football for you.
You are listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast. A podcast by diehard fans for fans. It's as honest and as raw as sports talk can be. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko Podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Garrity.
So Anthony Lottie will punt it away from the 41. Greg Garrity is the deep man for Penn State at the 10-yard line.
Former Penn State receiver and 2016 Big Ten champion. You're listening to the best Penn State Nittany Lion podcast, the Mark Lesko Podcast.
All right, everybody. Welcome back into another episode of the Mark Lesko Podcast. Joined by Matt from Penn State Jerseys once again, and Brett Cable, as always. Thank you guys for coming on. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Matt. So having you on again here, man, talking Penn State USC. Haven't played them since 2017. Always a good matchup, and it's even better that we're at USC, I think. And, you know, I think we're going to win this game. So I think the spread is pretty fair, but I do think that we are going to win. I think we're the better team, and it's going to show at the end of the night. Miller Moss, I think, is going to have some trouble with our defense. But, Matt, what are your thoughts overall in the game?
Yeah, I think it's smart that they got out there on Thursday. I think it's gonna help with the preparation. You know, seeing Anthony Donko back at practice this week to me was extremely important because Penn State, I think, is going to want to really establish the run in this game early and often. And USC has struggled to stop the run this year. So, and obviously Nick Singleton back at practice was huge. Feel really good about this game. I just feel like Franklin has them very prepared, even just from a travel standpoint, getting out there on Thursday, getting the buses over to Harrisburg. You know, those are kind of small things that add up. And people who don't watch college football day in and day out, it's a lot harder and a lot more complicated for teams to travel than it is in the NFL. And when you're talking about kids 18, 19, 20 years old, I think having a real organized plan to get out there early is important, and having the guys that I just mentioned, both Anthony and Nick, healthy at practice, you got to feel really good about this game. What you mentioned about their quarterback, you know, Miller Moss, I agree with Mark. I think he's going to really struggle in this game. This is a defense unlike one that they've seen so far this year. I think LSU's defense obviously shown to be not nearly as good as Penn State's, and you know he bought them back late in that game. But I don't think this is not LSU, and this is in a much different you know situation. So I feel good about Penn State's chances going to the game. They just seem very prepared and getting healthy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Overall, I just think we're the better team. I mean, so far, Matt, I don't know what you think. But we have so much talent on this team, but I feel like the play calling just hasn't matched up, especially on offense. So on paper, we're way like we're one of the best teams in the country. We're better than USC. USC has a good win against LSU, but they also have a loss against Michigan, and they just lost to Minnesota. So, yeah, but again, like the thing about this, and I think some people don't think about it, is the fact that you're traveling across the country. You can get sick. You have a different sleep clock. It's just different overall. So that can be a factor for sure. It's 3:30, which is, helps us because it's at 12:30 our time. Well, no, let me think.
Yeah, no, you're right.
12:30 our time. I'm sorry, 12:30 their time, but it's 3:30 our time. So I think that kind of helps us out a little bit overall. But yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be a good game. It's one of the biggest weekends of the whole season. It's the weekend of the whole season. And I think we should hold a moment of silence for all the weddings that are happening this Saturday, because I did read something that there was a bunch of weddings happening Saturday. And as someone who was in 2017 when we played Ohio State, I was at a wedding, and it was my brother's wedding. And we were out in the middle of nowhere, had no service, and it was interesting for sure. We lost, which really sucked, but
changed the whole trajectory of the program for 6 years.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, yep. And that was one of the toughest losses I've ever been a part of.
Worst.
You know what I mean?
Worst.
Yeah.
Worst.
Keep going, guys. I'll be back.
And then 2018 to top it off.
Well, 2018 was at home, but the 2017 really, that changed the whole trajectory of the program, because if they would have won that game, they would have gone to the college football playoff, probably been to the national championship game.
Yep.
Later the following season, they wind up losing Justin Fields' commitment, which I think they would have retained if they would have if they would have beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
And gone on to the championship game. And then even Micah Parsons wound up decommitting, right? And then that was a big struggle to get him back on board. But if they would have beaten Ohio State and gone to the college football playoff, I think they would have made the playoff the following year. And then you would have Justin Fields for those 2 other years. They really could have been rolling. So I've laminated on that game for so many years, and how much that set the program back for a number of years in so many different ways. But Mark, one thing I think was the reason why I actually think they held Nick Singleton out last week is because it was such a short week with the travel. If he were to get banged up, you have a very short week to get treatment. All day Thursday, you're traveling out there. So I think the short week contributed to them being more cautious with him and holding him out of that game.
Yeah, sure. I think it was a good move. I was at the game, and he was just standing on the side and with the helmet on his head, and he was dressed. But I figured he wasn't going in because of the potential risk with that. But,
no sense. They didn't.
But yeah, you're right, Matt. Like when we lost that game against Ohio State, like that was definitely a huge setback. I mean, because in reality, the reason that Ohio State gets all these great recruits, and Alabama gets these great recruits, and we aren't getting that caliber, is because we never beat them. So if we win that game, we're going to the playoff that year most likely, and
they're probably going to the national championship game.
Yeah, because we were that good. So that team could have been in the national championship. So always hurts. The Ohio State game this year is our first true test, I think. I mean, West Virginia, regardless how they are now, that was a really good test. But this is our first true test, and we're got to bye at Wisconsin, and it's Ohio State. So
and we'll also see how good Illinois is. They're still ranked. They've looked really good against everybody but us. So I mean, we got to root for Illinois the rest of the year, really. I mean, other than obviously you don't want them to. I mean, if they show up in the Big Ten championship against us, which I don't see any of that happening, but you got to root for them. The whole wedding thing is funny because I was at a wedding for the Penn State Iowa game. I think it was 2021 when Clifford got hurt. Was that 2021? They hit his ribs. I was at a wedding. We were at the table trying to watch it, but the connection was terrible. We were in the middle of nowhere. And after Clifford went down, I was like,
why is everyone getting married in the middle of nowhere?
Dude, I don't know.
This
I don't know.
your friends get in the middle of nowhere. Mark's
Like I
friends
remember
middle of
when I
nowhere.
saw the wedding, my brother's wedding. It was during Ohio State. I'm like, okay, well, how's this gonna happen? And once we got out there, there was no service. I'm like, well, we can't watch it.
That sucks.
I mean, even if you're at like a big venue, it's still hard to watch it because there's so much going on. But
yeah,
obviously, the wedding was, especially because it was my brother, it was very important. But my sister-in-law's uncle, he's an Ohio State fan, and he like got the microphone and announced that Penn State lost. And top 5 times top 5 angriest times I've ever been in my life. Especially coming from an Ohio State fan announcing it that we lost, because we easily could have won that game. I mean, we were absolutely supposed to win that game, and then they just came back in typical, Ohio State fashion. Just they're like the weasels of college football. They just always find a way to weasel their way into a win.
It's true.
I hate Ohio State so much, but I respect them, but I hate them. By the way, Matt, is that Jay Alford's game worn jersey?
Yes, from the Orange Bowl.
Wow.
That's funny enough. Right there, the Orange Bowl patch, it wound up getting like destroyed. Wound up getting ripped off during the game, and Spider had to put a new one on after for him. So it's pretty.
By the way, how was that interview with Landon Tangwell? That's really cool that you were on that, man.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And then I actually did. We filmed an episode for his podcast on my collection, so I went out. I bought like a big bin of all stuff in my collection. We kind of discussed about it, talked about a lot of stuff. He was real cool. So we went to the studio, did that, and he's gonna publish that next week for the bye week. So a lot of really cool stuff I bought out there. Some stuff I haven't even shared on my page. Like I have it's like a Joe Paterno's like personally worn jacket, his practice pass for the '82 Sugar Bowl where they won the national championship. Some pretty incredible jerseys and helmets I've gotten over the years. So some cool stuff we talked about, and I was able to kind of show off and kind of tell the story behind each one. So it's a good episode next week.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I have it up right now on the screen. Well, you can see it because it's StreamYard now, but yeah, that's really cool, man, because he's got a pretty big podcast right now, and the fact that he's interviewing you is, that's a testament to all the work you've done, and you're just doing what you like to do, man.
That's it, man.
Which is awesome.
Passion. It's not even work. It's just fun.
No, exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
By the way, Mike Kresovich, who we had on here last week, he just had Bo Nickel on his podcast, and straight from the Krez. And it's funny because I was going to tell Mike, be like, hey, man, you had someone on your podcast that was on Joe Rogan and golfed with Trump before I did. So because Bo Nickel, he was just on Joe Rogan, and then he's talking about how he's golfing with Trump there. And
I saw that. Trump
Resort. But yeah, that's a great pickup by Mike. That's for sure. Kudos to him.
Sure.
But overall, Matt, like, do you have any players to watch or key matchups that you're thinking of right now?
Well, I think, I mean, to me, it all starts up front with Penn State's offensive line. With Donka back, if they can reestablish what they had going earlier in the year, this has probably been, besides the UCLA game where Donka got a little banged up, probably the most consistent 4-game stretch, an impressive 4-game stretch the offensive line has played in a number of years. And football, they talk about 2 things: blocking and tackling. Right? We know we can tackle really well, and we have tackled really well in the Franklin era.
Yeah.
The blocking has been hit or miss, and this to me is probably their best offensive line that they've had in a while. And I just think that Penn State is going to impose their will on USC, and I don't think USC is going to be used to this brand of football. I think their best defensive lineman, I heard, is going to be out of this game, and that to me plays even more to the strength of what Penn State wants to do offensively. I think they're going to control the tempo of the game. I watched the whole USC Minnesota game last week. Did not come away overly impressed at all. Minnesota's defense has a lot to be desired. And I just think that we're kind of thinking of the USC teams of the past rather than who's going to be lining up for USC on Saturday. And I think Penn State's going to win, to me, what I predicted as the most pivotal game of the season. If they were to win this game, they set themselves up perfectly to go to the college football playoff. If they don't and they lose, now you got to win at Minnesota, you got Washington at home, and you got Ohio State, and you'd probably have to win almost all of those games, because if you finish 10-2, you're in kind of no man's land and you need some help potentially. So I think Penn State's trajectory for the college football playoff is on the line this weekend, because you can't expect them to beat Ohio State at home. So you got to kind of work off, hey, we probably have one loss, but you can't afford really more than one and feel that good about where you'd stand in the college football playoff. So to me, they're going to cement themselves and put themselves in a position, guys, where if you think about it, if Oregon beats Ohio State and Penn State wins out, Oregon, Ohio, and Penn State are going to play for the Big Ten championship. So at the end of Saturday night, Oregon could be in the driver's seat and Penn State could potentially be in the driver's seat to go the Big Ten championship game, just as long as they beat Ohio State at home, because it would be them and Oregon. I'd feel really good about Penn State playing Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Now you start talking about a bye and some real lofty expectations, but it all starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
It all starts on Saturday versus USC.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, people think top 12 means you're in the playoff, and that's not what it means. It means,
no, you're right.
Top highest conference champions get in, automatic bids, and then it's the top 7 after that. So, let's say Penn State. Okay, so this game is very important because USC could knock us out pretty easily, because they have, as Jay Paterno said, USC has a LSU win. We do not. So this is very important, this game. And so let's say Penn State loses to Ohio State. They're 11-1, and then they don't go to the title game. At best, Penn State's looking at like an 8 or 9 seed probably. And I think it's 5, 6, 7, 8 get home playoff games. Is that right?
Yeah, but you're also in like a real peculiar position if you have 2 losses, right? Because now you're going to need help from other people, and you're going to need potentially some other things to happen, which doesn't look that great. And I think to Jay's point that he's making, if you look at Penn State's schedule, and Brett mentioned it, we need Illinois to win out, because West Virginia is not looking like a good game, really that great a win. You need Illinois to win out, and outside that schedule, I mean, Washington beat, Michigan, which is nice, but I still think they'd probably be on the just make it at 10-2, but I would not feel comfortable.
Well, I just mean with one loss, Matt. Just even with one loss, it would be tough.
Oh, one loss, they're in. I mean, one loss.
Yeah, they're definitely in.
That's it. Yeah. If the only loss is Ohio State, then you're probably at the 6th seed.
But because of the way it's structured, like you're going to have now, just because like a BYU or whoever wins their conference doesn't mean they're seeded high. They're probably going to be like the 12th seed. They're just in. That's all it is. So if we have let's say we're a one-loss team to Ohio State. We're still at, like I said, at best, we're getting like an 8 or 9 seed at best. I would think, like, we're not getting better than that, because
it depends what happens. I mean,
you have Oregon and then us. We'll be the 3rd Big Ten team in the playoff, pretty much.
It depends what happens in the SEC. That's what it comes down to. Because Georgia plays like Tennessee, Ole Miss. Like, Georgia has a bunch of really hard games coming up. You know what I'm saying? Alabama. Couple hard games, not as hard of a path as Georgia has. So it all depends on what happens in the SEC. Because if we keep winning, they're not going to drop us in the polls. I mean, there's just no reason to, unless somebody gets a huge marquee win in the SEC. But we'll have to see how it shakes out. I mean, it's so early to tell at this point. We also have to play Wisconsin on the road. That's no gimme. Washington, that's no gimme. They look pretty good. They have a good run game. Their defense is decent. We have that at home for the whiteout, so I'm not worried about it. But still, like it's a decent team that looks. We need them to look good moving forward, so it could look like a better game for us. For no, it won't be ranked, I don't think, but just on our resume, like all right, Washington's a decent team. They're like top 30 or something. So we'll have to see how
Yeah,
that
and
looks.
even you mentioned like at Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin played USC pretty tough for 3.5 quarters. I mean, it was a one-score game. Wisconsin had the ball with a chance to go ahead. I think it was like early in the fourth. USC got a late pick six, which made the game look a little bit more different than it was. But
Yeah.
They're not a bad team, and if that winds up being a night game in Camp Randall, who knows? I mean, that could be that could turn out to be just a more challenging game than people thought.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
that could be definitely a sleeper for us. But it could also be like 2008 when we went in there and just smoked them. But the playoff will be very interesting. But I do think after Saturday, we're going to win, and then Ohio State. Is the game at Oregon or Ohio State?
It's in Oregon.
I think
Eugene.
All right, so if I were to guess right now, I'd say Ohio State's going to win. And then
see, guys, I'll put something out there. I think they're going to win, but I think they're going to crush them. I don't think Oregon's that good.
No, they're not.
I really don't. And I would love to see Oregon win, but I mean, Oregon struggled with Idaho. Boise State probably should have beat them, earlier in the year. I mean,
they beat a Michigan State team. Like, we don't know anything about Oregon yet. So
yeah, we don't. I don't know. I hate to say, I just feel good about Ohio State winning that game. But
Dylan Gabriel threw 2 picks in the end zone. I was watching that. I'm like, this dude's like a 6-year quarterback. What's he doing?
No, you're right. He's not that. He's not that good. And the thing is, like, even Oregon, even if they get past Ohio State, they still got to go to Michigan. They got to go to Wisconsin. They got Illinois. I mean, there's like, you just looking at these schedules, guys. There's so much football left to be played. But I don't know about you guys, but like looking around college football, there's not a lot of teams here where I'm just like, Penn State can't beat them. Like, it's not like some prior years where there was like one or two teams where you're just like, you know what, hey, this team's like just really, really good. Like, who really scares you in college football?
Alabama's defense is awful. I mean, the last 2 games or 2.5 games they played, their defense was atrocious. Like, what are they doing? That's not typical.
By the way, is Quinn Ewers back yet?
Yeah, he's starting this week
against Oklahoma. So this is another thing I wanted to address real quick. The top 10 or top 4. We'll just do top 4. All right, so we got Oregon, who, again, like we just said, isn't very good. They're probably going to lose to Ohio State, right? Texas has an injured Quinn Ewers. They were playing with a backup. Now, in my opinion, even though these 2 teams lost, I think this is going to be the SEC title game right here. These 2, if that's possible, I think that's still possible. Because are they just straight conference now? There's no divisions anymore.
That I don't know. I know that's the way in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
but I am not sure.
Well,
I don't know. I forget, but
okay.
We'll see.
So
if Ole Miss turns it around, they could be in there, but they don't look very good either.
You can't feel good about Ole Miss. They're going to catch at least 2 more losses.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean,
Ole Miss. They're so stacked.
Well, on paper, like, they have a good team, but like they just can't put it together.
Yeah, but they published the magazines in August, man.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to look. I think this should be in here. Let's see. SEC. All right. So, it looks like it's a straight conference. Okay, so like I just said, based on what – okay, so you got Texas, right? They have been relying on a backup pretty much.
Well,
but
a pretty
who was
good
very
backup,
good.
though.
Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, he's good.
But I mean, you put it in perspective. Like Texas, they're vulnerable. Ohio State.
Well, we don't know, right? Because I mean, Texas still went
Haven't played
Michigan, laid the
anybody.
lumber. Michigan's not great, but still, they
Yeah.
controlled that game. They moved the ball on the road, put 31 points versus Michigan. I'd give them their credit. We're going to find out in really the next 2 weeks, right? They got the Red River rivalry, and then they play Georgia. And we'll find out more after Georgia. And then they got to go to Vanderbilt. They got Florida, who's garbage, Arkansas, who just won, Kentucky is a really tough defensive team, at Texas A&M. I mean, Texas, if you were to say one team could be a problem for them, possibly.
So with Texas, like I think they're a vulnerable team, and then Alabama and Tennessee, I think besides Penn State, I still think we're one of the best in the country. Alabama and Tennessee still have a shot. Now Alabama, because they lost to Vanderbilt, that's a very bad loss. And they may lose one more time, which means for one, I don't know if they get in. They probably will, but I think Alabama's going to have one more loss. So I think, realistically speaking, Texas, Texas.
But really,
Alabama.
I mean, Alabama's got South Carolina. Okay, they're going to beat them at home, at Tennessee,
and I think Tennessee wins that game.
You really do? I don't know, man.
It's hard to put stock in Tennessee after their performance last week. I really don't know what they're going to be moving forward. Arkansas is not a very good team, and they beat them. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
What's the spread on Tennessee, Alabama? Does anybody know?
I don't even.
It might not be out yet.
A couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not going to be out yet.
The reason I had Alabama over Georgia is because half the team has been in jail this past summer. So I mean that's a bit of a distraction if you ask me. But and another kid just got arrested. So
go beyond.
So
he took a visit to Penn State,
and Ohio State is good, but they
always play them regardless.
Their hardest game has been against Michigan State, and if they beat up on Oregon, which I think they will, because Oregon's not that good, you're looking at Texas, Ohio State, us. Realistically, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee. Those are the best teams. Miami is, they're Miami, but we could be. Joe Klatt said it. We could be looking, depending on how Texas plays these next couple weeks, we could be looking at a Penn State, Ohio State 1-2 matchup.
I mean, what happens if Oklahoma beats Texas this weekend?
Well, see, that's the thing. You don't know.
I mean, Penn State could be the number 2 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oklahoma.
It doesn't really matter much, but
it doesn't. But at the end of the day, man, if you look at paper, like you just said, talk about Penn State, who can beat us, dude. We're easily one of the best in the country. I mean, I think we can beat anybody, including an SEC team, and that's because of the talent we have. Now, will the play calling, coincide with that? Like last week when I was watching UCLA, I thought Jay Paterno was our offensive coordinator because it was just so conservative and basic, which was a lot of what Jay Paterno's. He wasn't the offensive coordinator, but you know what I mean. He was part of it.
Not having Nick was, crucial. I mean, the run game, Katron's good, but by himself, he's not. You need Nick Singleton.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, we had Katron and Quentin Martin because Nick Singleton is out and Cam Wallace is out for the season. Now, if you have 2 of your best backs out, and you still run the ball against and Quentin Martin had 1 yard, but you're still running the ball pretty well with Katron and Quentin Martin, who Quentin Martin is literally our 4th string running back. Man, that's just kudos to how much depth we have. That's insane. And Quentin Martin, I thought, did pretty good.
He had some catches, yeah. He had a good first down, 2 first downs maybe.
We haven't talked a lot or really at all about the loss of arguably Penn State's best defensive player coming into the season, and that was KJ Winston.
Yeah.
Between him and Carter. I look at these teams right here, and I'm like, shit, those are the teams where you're going to feel the loss of KJ Winston.
Yeah.
And that's where Wheatley has played great, but you need all your dogs, man, when you're playing, the Texas, Ohio State, Georgias. That could be an injury that comes back to haunt them later in the year or in the college football play. And the kicking too, Mark. Remember the preseason, I said the kicking? I said, listen, kicking isn't a problem until it's a big problem. And, that's
well, how about
still
something? How about Jameel Lyons too? Kavion Keys. Those are huge losses, man. That's another one.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to lose some guys, right? Like they have Vanover, they have Smith Vilbert, they got depth, but Winston, I mean, probably going to be the first safety off the board. That's just a different beast.
Yeah.
So right
now realistically, we have Abdul, Tyler Warren, and Kevin Winston all going in the first round. Tyler Warren's projected right now to go to the Chiefs. From last I saw,
one of the mocks,
Because, dude, if you think about it, man, he's what 6'6", right?
6'6", 260.
Darnell Washington for the Steelers. If you ever see, you know who I'm talking about, right?
He's huge.
If you see him on the field running, he doesn't even look like you're like, how huge. That guy is massive. And Tyler Warren is an inch shorter than him. And I think they're the same weight. That's how big Tyler Warren is. He's huge. How tall is Travis Kelce?
6'5".
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's shorter than Tyler Warren.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But, and Tyler Warren's a freak of an athlete too, but.
Yeah. He's at least 6'6". I mean, I took a picture with him last weekend with the kids, and I'm like, up to his nose, and I'm 6'3", so he's got to be at least 6'7".
By the way, you had your son on. I was gonna say he's pretty famous. He's on your page all the time.
Yeah. He wanted to try to get a little famous.
Matt, I was gonna say about your jersey. You should try to get Jay Alford's Super Bowl jersey after he sacked Tom Brady to seal that Super Bowl win. You have that?
I don't want to tell you. I'm actually a Patriots fan, so
really?
That jersey could
stay
in his.
You might not want
stay in his collection. No.
And Curtis Jacobs now. Nice.
Yeah, no, he's doing nice and well. I was
that'd be like me trying to get an Andrew Corliss jersey when I was on the Packers when he beat the Steelers. Nah, I don't want that. I think he was he on that team? Maybe not. He was slightly after that, Andrew Corliss. He must have been in 2011 draft, maybe.
He was a good player.
And you had Amos. You had Amos, or is it Amos? Yeah, he was on the Packers for a long time. Yeah.
And then people forget Evan Royster was RG3's running back when he was so good in the NFL. Evan Royster was his starting running back. Speaking of the 2010s Penn State players, but
back to the safety talk real quick, if I could. I think last week Zakee Wheatley took a big step forward because he's been a little shaky the first couple weeks. He hasn't been in the right place like most of the time. But I mean, he also didn't play a lot last year, so he's just trying to get his feet wet. But yeah, he was all over the field last week, and he looked great. So we need Zakee Wheatley to step up and keep making progress. Day Lane, he's a freak athlete. It's not his time yet, but you got to work him in there. A couple plays here and there so you can get Jalen Reed as a line, because when Jalen Reed's down by a line of scrimmage, you already see what he can do. He does that it's like a delay blitz. He gets in there, he looks good. So yeah, like how Matt was saying, I think the safety play later on in the year is going to be very huge. We got to keep making progress. So
I mean, it's so important, and we can't afford injuries, man. And Kevin Winston, I'd say our two best defensive players, Zane Durant and Kevin Winston. I mean, Zane Durant's like my favorite player on the team right now.
Oh yeah, he's just incredible.
Dude, that guy could take on. If you just put him out there against another team, he could probably take the whole team on. I mean, that's how strong.
He's the best defensive tackle we've had in a while, to be honest with you.
Dude, he's so underrated. I think he's not getting much attention at all nationally, is he?
Not right
Well,
now,
he
no.
was
But
featured on like Bruce Feldman's Freak Athletes. But
okay.
he's a hell of a player.
Bruce
And a
Feldman.
funny story, Tom Allen recruited him really hard at Indiana. There's a picture of him with Tom Allen. He was at Indiana, so pretty cool. They wound up reuniting here at Penn State. But yeah, he's a hell of a player. And his parents, I met at the Penn Stater 2 weeks ago. They travel up from Florida for pretty much every single game. So he's got a really very supportive family. I think that makes a big difference. These guys are still kids, but having your family up every weekend, I think that's important.
He kind of reminds me of that Newton kid from Illinois. But the Newton kid was a D end,
No, he's a D tackle.
It reminds me of that Zaire. I think it was Zaire Newton or.
He was a defensive tackle. Yeah, he played as like a 3-tech.
Oh, did he? Okay, but he was
one
so good,
tackle.
man. He's like a one-man wrecking crew pretty much. But yeah, overall, Brett, like, is there anything particular that you're looking for in this game, or is there anything?
Yeah. So I mean, we already talked a little bit about it, but Penn State's line of scrimmage play, if they play like they have for the majority of the year, getting Donka back's gigantic. If we didn't have him, I'd feel a little worried about just Drew getting pass rush with Nolan Rucci's still getting his footing. He looks okay, but it's not the same. So if our offensive line keeps it up, if we get to Miller Moss, then I feel really good about the game. But Miller Moss, I mean, the last couple games, he's been getting tossed around. Like, it's not even his fault. His offensive line's horrible. It's not a good offensive line. So if they can block for Miller Moss for some reason this week, which I don't see it happening, he can make plays. Like, he can make really good throws and make things difficult. But if we can get on him, then I don't see it being a problem for us. I think what they're going to try to do, they have Zachariah Branch, which reminds me of KJ Hamler. Same size, really fast, speedy, quick slot receiver. If they get Zachariah Branch in space, then he could run past a lot of our guys. I mean, we have a fast defense, but that dude's KJ Hamler speed. So
yeah, at the end of the day, this is still a Pac-12 team. Like, we're going to see some speed.
Yeah.
Like,
no, absolutely. Yeah. I think the spread's fair. I think USC is better than their record. Them not being ranked we can't look at it like, oh, they're a pushover. They're not ranked. We're going to come through there. Like, you have to look at them like, we're going to California. This is their house. This is still USC, but we're Penn State, and we're the more physical team. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to play bully ball like we did against Illinois. We're going to run the ball down your throat, and then we'll open up the play action for Drew. And Liam Clifford, I think he's stepping up, man. I mean, I think he could be our number one receiver this year. Trey Wallace still has that potential, of course. He's getting open. I just don't think everything's working out on certain plays with Drew getting rushed because offensive line's been a little banged up. So we'll see. Nick Dawkins has been a pleasant surprise. Not that I thought he was going to be bad, but even Franklin said he's playing better than we anticipated. So getting Nick back is huge this week. If we didn't have him this week, I'd be a little worried just because he'll be more one-dimensional in the running game. You'll just have the shifty guy, not the speedy guy. So I guess we can do predictions here at some point. I was right on that Pittsburgh game. 2017 was the score. I was right on that.
What sucked about that, man, was the Cowboys. First of all, they deserve all the credit in the world. That was good for them. That was a huge win. That shut a lot of people up. I'm not talking about Steelers fans. I'm talking about just nationally shut a lot of people up. That was a huge win. Dak is he's a scrappy player. Dak's the man. He is like he's got a big heart. Like, he's got a big heart as a player. Like, he's a scrappy player, and that was a good win. But they made so many mistakes on offense, the Cowboys, and then the offense our offense that made me mad. But by the way, Vega Ione, man, that freaking hit he had on that defensive end for UCLA, and the title was "Welcome to the Big Ten." which is funny because a lot of people don't say that, but it is true. And I think USC, they're going to run into a big powerhouse Big Ten team this weekend, and they're going to find out real quick that we're not the team they played before in 09 or 16.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, you know, the hit that Vega Ione had was impressive. Of course, Gus Johnson gave us no credit. And he said he liked coming to Penn State games because it was the middle of nowhere and he had no service. It's like, Gus, do you think these million people in State College right now don't have phone service? You're in a stadium. That's why you don't have service. like he basically said because he was in the middle of nowhere, he had no phone service.
And there is some Wi-Fi there now. Like certain spots, there is Wi-Fi.
I had service. I had perfect service when I was there. I was at the 50.
Yeah.
But Matt, we're not big Gus Johnson fans on this show because
he's a little much. I mean, I understand the enthusiasm for the casual fan, right? He kind of draws that in.
Yeah, I like him
because there's people. I mean, listen, people who are watching on TV are paying the bills, so you know, I get it. I'm cool with that. But yeah,
I like Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt's good.
Yeah, Joel's good. Man, there was nothing better. I don't go too far back, guys, but Keith Jackson, man. Keith Jackson calling a college football game.
He called a lot of games.
Oh, it's like the voice of God, man.
Well, dude, they always had Penn State. They always had big time names at games. They had Keith Jackson. They had Lynn Swan. They had wasn't Dick Vermeil a sideline reporter? Or was it Marty?
I'll tell you what.
Marty Schottenheimer or Dick Vermeil. He did sideline reporting. George Paterno's called games. Yeah.
I can't stand Brett Musburger.
No,
he is just,
and I can't stand Kirk Herbstreit. I cannot stand.
He's not bad. I like him. I could deal with him. I don't have any problem.
He likes Penn State. I mean,
he's pretty good.
I think he's totally full of crap. Dude, if you go back, right, and you watch the Ohio or Penn State USC game in 2009, it was Kirk Herbstreit and Brent Musburger. Okay, for like 3/4 of that game, all they talked about was how good USC was,
and they were, and they whooped our ass.
They were, but as announcers, I don't.
Yeah, but it got out of hand, man. That game got out of hand, and we listen. We got some garbage points in the fourth quarter to make it a little bit more respectable. But there was a point in the game where that was pretty rough. After Darryl Clark scored on the quarterback draw, it was almost pretty much downhill from there. I remember that team had like Ray Maluga and Cushing and, I mean, Damian Williams. I mean,
they had like 3 running backs that went for like 1,000 yards that year.
Yeah. That was a good team, and it was a pseudo home game for them.
And then you had Evan Royster. He got hurt on that draw play too. His knee.
He was out for a while. And Stephon Green played okay.
Stephon Green had to play the rest of the game. Yeah. But what do you guys score? You guys got real quick. I want to pull this up. By the way, I'll go back to our equipment van left Sunday night.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. They're in Cali right now,
and they got there yesterday.
It's like probably 3 days to get across the country. Remember?
Well, I think they got there. I think yesterday. Today's Thursday.
Yeah, because they got to stop because those trucks too. I think there's like restrictions with the drivers, like they can only drive 8 hours and they got a break. I don't know if they got like a team, but yeah, that's common. I mean, the NFL trucks they leave several days before too.
I saw there was a picture. I can't find it. I wish I could find it. But it was a picture of our van, our bus in downtown LA. The We Are bus. But
yeah, the team showed up a few hours ago. They got there.
Guys, we'll get into the score predictions here. But real quick, I just want to shout out this church / program. The care program through Christ Community Church. I think that's C3 and State College. They're raising money for the victims of the floods and the hurricanes, particularly in North Carolina. This is through some friends of mine and their gym owners, and this is the church they go to. They're accepting donations to help the flood victims. And their friend who owns this Five Stones Fight Club, he's down there and they're all Marines, retired Marines, and they have like these traveling food trucks. They're doing a lot of good stuff down there. So the links are below in the description. So if you can make a donation, please do. They're really good people, and they're doing a lot of good down there. There's a lot of updates on Facebook, but that's one thing that I just want to say real quick is there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now. And I told them I would talk about this tonight because, we have a bit of an audience here, and, it's really important. There's a lot of people that are in really bad situations, and the people who are supposed to be helping are not. So people like this, good people like this, are doing work to help them. So if you can donate, go to the links below. I'd really appreciate it and help them out. So, but this is why we have football, man, to take our minds off of how much the real world can be, can suck sometimes.
Yeah.
But Matt, what do you got a score prediction?
Yeah, I am going Penn State. I'm going kind of like the lower 30s, going like between 31 and 33, and I'm going USC in kind of maybe the mid to upper teens, like a 31,
I think the under
17,
hits.
something like that.
Yeah, I think the under easily hits.
Yeah.
I would be surprised
right
if
now.
USC scored 20 points in this game.
Yeah, I think they're going to score some points, even though our defense is really good.
I don't. I don't
you
think they're going to score
so?
more than 21, Mark. No.
Well, no. I don't think they'll score more than that. But
I mean, they could score like 14 and Penn State's up. They get some garbage time stuff. But when it matters, like when the game, like when starters are in, I don't see them scoring more than 20.
I think it's funny how we're favored and they have a better chance to win. That just doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's that's college football. That
Yeah.
I mean, in the pro. So the way like the betting works in the pros, whoever's the home team gives up 3 points, and then it's based off that. But college, you see, it's like it's a pretty significant spread they give to the home team. But I just don't see.
Matt, we're picking
USC
up some
scoring.
background noise there, bud. Yeah, I've got you. I've got the
prediction.
background. Oh wait, what am I doing? What the heck? Did you mute yourself, Matt?
Yeah, I'll go like a 31 to like 17.
Okay. I got mine's similar. I got 24-17. I just until we put up more points, I don't want to predict more points because I mean last week we should have put up. I mean, don't get me started on last week. Some of the third down play calling. Overall, I love the play calling, but the third down play calling, like 3rd and 5s, like just handing the ball off, like I'm getting sick of that. So they got to until they switch that up. 24-17. I'm going to put down.
I think my prediction's like 20-17. I have no reason to think that we're going to score a lot of points, and a lot, I mean more than 20. I'd say a lot is more than 21. So I say like 20-17 because maybe 24-17. I mean, like I just don't think we're going to score that much, but I also don't think USC is going to score. Now, here's what I don't understand. According to ESPN Analytics, SC has a 51% chance of winning, but we're a 3.5 point spread.
Yeah, I just said that actually.
How does that work?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's ESPN, so
it's because they're at home and
they have Mina Kimes covering the NFL, so you can't take too much stock in it. But
it's the biggest road trip we could possibly make from where we live. So I mean, that's why.
No, I do think we're gonna win, man. I think this is gonna be a huge confidence booster. I don't care if we are, in my opinion, better. Like if we win this game on the road, man, it's like Auburn when we beat Auburn on the road. That was a huge win.
Yep.
And it was just I loved watching that game. So say we beat USC, okay? We have to take advantage of our bye. We can't lose at Wisconsin because that's very possible. And then we have to beat Ohio State. And then we have to finish out. Because
but
I
Wisconsin's
do think
so bad, right? Wisconsin,
they
lost
are.
a starting quarterback. Their running backs, the guy's done. I mean, Wisconsin's season is over. I mean, essentially is over.
Yeah, it pretty much is. They'll be. I think they're going to be good at some point. I mean, they got a good coach
next year.
Yeah, I think they got some potential for sure, but they're like Nebraska. Like they need like a Dylan Raiola to
we all
have a chance. Yeah,
because we'll need a Dylan Raiola next year. Drew Eller goes to the NFL.
But USC had Caleb Williams, and what did they do? You know what I mean? So you need the team around it. You know what I mean?
I did not have Minnesota on my bingo card last week beating USC. I just didn't have it. So anything can happen. I don't know. But we just got to go 1-0 this week, kill the bye week, and get healthy. And I think we're going to be fine. Yeah.
So that's our score predictions. If I were to make a bet, I'd say take the spread. I know I just said 2017, but I would say take the spread 3.5. I think that's a pretty good bet.
The under for sure. I would take the under.
Penn State money line. Yeah, just take Penn State money line because I think we're going to win. So, and that bet right now is 185. I mean, that's not bad at all. Minus 185. So if you just take Penn State money line, you put like $100 on it, you're probably making like $80 or $90. So, not bad at all. But overall,
that's a high total. 50.5.
Yeah, it really is because I don't think, dude, how it possibly could that be? I don't understand. Like, how could that be covered? How is that going to be covered? We're both scoring 25 points.
The only way that would possibly happen is if USC forces us to go into a shootout. We don't want to play that way because that's not what our game has been yet, and we would have to see the game in Drew's hands, and we just haven't seen that yet. But if for somehow our defense sucks in coverage, which it can sometimes, then that would be a shootout game. We would have to win, but that's not the type of game we want to play here. We got to play bully ball.
Yeah, we just got to do. This is the kind of game where, again, like Matt, what is our offensive identity right now?
I think it's methodical. I think it's measured. I mean,
So you think
it
they're
reminds
doing it
me
on
a lot
purpose
of
right now?
Yeah, I think it's just execution. They take care of the ball, and they're doing what they need to do, and they take the shots when they need to take the shots. I mean, they know what their strengths are. The offensive line. I mean, we've bellyached for 10 years. We need a good offensive line. We need to run it when we need to, right? That's why we lost the game to Ohio State in 2017 because we couldn't run it when we need to at the end of the game. And in other critical games, right? And now we can. And that's a huge luxury. And when you can do that, you don't turn the ball over. You control the line of scrimmage. You wear out the defense, and you take your systematic shots. I mean, Omari Evans has stepped up. I mean, we knew what we were going to get, I think, out of Harrison Wallace. He's been better. We didn't know we're going to get Omari Evans. He's been better. Tyler Warren has even improved on last year. Liam Clifford, to your point, Brett, has been really good. Eventually, Julian Fleming's going to make a few plays, right? Luke Reynolds and Dinkins.
Yeah,
this is a good offense that can do a lot of different things, and they're just not going to do things that they're not meant to do because the flip side of that, Mark, is like you see teams that can throw the ball all around the field, but they can't line up and run the ball when they need to and close out the game. And we're a little bit of the opposite. So when you have the defense like we do, I think it plays into a complete team. A complete team. And I feel good about the offense. I also think that they've been holding some stuff back for these games. I think you're going to see some you just have not seen. I don't like those play calls of having Warren be quarterback. I much rather would have saved it for maybe some other games. I think Koldenicki put a little bit too much out there, but he probably has a deep bag of tricks, and I feel good about what he's going to do. I mean, the only way Penn State loses this game is if, to me, they sustain one or two injuries along the offensive line, and their kicking game winds up being a disaster where they miss 2 field goals and they lose confidence in their kicker, and now they have to start going for it. So to me, unless Penn State gets one or two notable injuries and kicking becomes a problem, I don't see how they're going to lose this game to USC.
I think our kicking game is fine now. Now we got Parker.
I don't. I mean,
We'll see. We'll see.
Two kicks.
Yeah.
And Mark, the guy misses a 31-yard field goal on the opening drive. You're going to want to, pull a scholarship. So let's have him make. We'll have him make.
Are you saying that because I said that, or do you agree with that?
No. I was just being facetious about it because it's one kick to.
Because that's what I said. Well, no, not the kicker against Illinois. I mean, I was like,
Sanders,
don't let that kid kick again. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah,
well, but even play devil's advocate for Penn State, like that Illinois game, like if Illinois didn't mess that up going into halftime, that game could have been a completely different ball game. I mean, they had it like goal to go on the 2, and not many times you're going to come away with 0 points, right, in that situation. So, Penn State hasn't been perfect, but what USC is not going to be able to do is block us up front. I mean, we're going to get a ton of pressures. That's why I think we get to. I think our defense is going to create 1 or 2 scores in this game, and that's why I have them going over the 30.
That makes sense
in this game. I think we're going to get a strip sack. I think we're going to get a fumble. I think we're going to get, an interception. This is USC is not going to be expecting what they're going to get defensively on Saturday.
And can we please ask Zion Tracy if your boy AJ Harris picks it off again? Please just let him. Just don't block in the back, dude. That killed me. AJ Harris had a pick 6, dude, all day, and then for no reason that he blocked the guy in the back. So yeah, AJ Harris has been great. He's been really good. Yeah. So he needs to keep it up.
Real quick, this is outside my house tonight. That's the Northern Lights. That's a really nice picture.
It's nice.
I know that's random, but
it's phenomenal.
But
you're right.
Yeah, that was tonight. Yeah, but yeah, Brett, like, that we just can't have too many stupid penalties, man. And I don't mean to. When I say stupid, I don't mean I'm not calling these players stupid. That's not what I'm saying. Stupid penalties like jumping off sides, blocking someone in the back. Like, you can't have that stuff. That's just dumb penalties. And,
last week we had 2 penalties. That's an improvement. That's good.
And like I said in the past, man, like there were some players who had to break through that barrier, break out of that shell. And I think they have. Like, I think Singleton has. I think Abdul has. Abdul had a good game against Illinois. Aller, in my opinion, is just cool, calm, and collected. He is not an issue at all. The play calling just isn't there, and unfortunately they're not showing his potential right now. But like you said, Matt, with they're being methodical about it. Now, do you think this offensive strategy can win them a national title?
100%.
Look at Michigan last year. This is Michigan last year. Is what it is.
This is even better. I mean, this is.
It's a better version. Yeah.
Okay.
Of the offense.
It's a better version, and again, not turning the ball over. I mean, that's the most important thing. You got to block.
Absolutely.
We can block. Can we tackle? We've shown we've been able to tackle, and don't turn the ball over. I mean, and that's why I think we can play with any team in the country because of those 3 components. I mean, people get so frustrated the past year or 2 as Penn State fans because we're not throwing the ball all around. You need people to catch it as well. But there's also benefits of not turning the ball over. Penn State was in every single game last year, right? I mean, even that Michigan game, they weren't like. There was opportunities for them to win that game. There was opportunities for them to win that Ohio State game, and those were probably the 2 best teams in the country last year.
Absolutely.
And they were right there.
They're good. The bright side is Cole Nicky might call a run play on 3rd and 5, but he won't do it on 4th and 5. Who was that back in 2018? Who was it? Oh,
Ricky Ronnie. I'm a Miles Sanders.
Ricky Ronnie. Yeah, Ricky Ronnie. He won't do that.
The crazy part about that play, and I remember being at that game,
It was supposed to be a run. He changed the play, but he shouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah, and then Fries just whiffed on the block, but like I've looked at that play 10,000 times. If Fries didn't whiff on the block, like he was gone. Like
Yeah. And the even crazier thing is Will Fries was terrible in college. He's good in the NFL. He's actually good now. Like who would have thought that?
By the way, when I was at the game Saturday, there was this kid, and there was this other guy. When he was coming down the stadium stairs, he was just yelling at our sideline, just yelling at him. He was mad or something. I don't know. He was just yelling.
Oh.
And,
Some random guy?
Just some random, like a fan. Yeah, he was just yelling at him. I think he wanted him to score more. He probably had to spread. He probably had like a grand on the spread or something.
Yeah, people watch the game. That's why I'm not a big fan of gambling, but gambling on your own team, like I don't know. I don't understand. To me, it's like the game's stressful enough, man. Like, what do you like? Like don't make it worse than it needs to be.
That's the thing. I'm a little nervous about Saturday, but I have faith in the team. So
no, I wouldn't be nervous at all, Brett. I would.
This guy that
would
had
rest easy.
Well, it's an away game. You just don't know, but I think we'll be fine. Yeah.
No, it just the defense. I'm telling you, the defense and the running game is just too good. There is no chance they are losing this game.
The defense needs to start out much stronger, though. We have to agree on that. The first quarter, for some reason, I don't know what they're doing, but
they settle down. They get their thing going, and USC is going to need to score. I mean, how many points do you think USC is going to need to score to win this game?
25.
Yeah, 25, 27.
Probably
25, 27.
Do you see a path for them to get 27 points? I mean, if you're a USC fan, you can't feel good about them having any less than 24 or 27 points to win this game.
They put 17 against Minnesota, so that's not encouraging on their end. So I don't know. Well, our defense is certainly much better than Minnesota. So
yeah, see what I mean? I mean,
but it's the turnover things. If we don't create turnovers, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah.
I was just going off of what you said, Matt, about not running it on 4th and 5. I saw this guy at the game Saturday, had a jersey on, and the back said, "Don't run it," and then the numbers were on 4th and 5.
Oh,
like it was literally like a 4th
That's wonderful.
and 5 were the numbers, and I said, "Don't run it on," and that's just. I know, Matt, I think you disagree with this, but there's just a lot of people that don't like Franklin, and I think that's a jersey that's like, I hate you, Franklin. Like, I don't know. Maybe he hates Ricky Ronnie. I don't know, but that's a pretty.
That's Ricky Ronnie.
That's pretty. That was Ricky Ronnie, and funny, Miles Sanders wore number 8 in that game to honor. I think it was Mark Allen who got hurt before. Actually wore his jersey in that game, which is pretty cool. It's one of those things. If the player does what he was asked to do, and that is to block the defensive end,
was Chase Young?
But a freshman, Chase Young. But but that's a hard argument if the player makes the block. Which again, he didn't ask him to run a 4-minute mile, right? He just asked him to seal him for like 2 seconds and actually just seal him and let him get upfield. That he was gone on that play. I mean, you look at the overhead, he would have been gone. But yeah, that was it. I mean, I think a lot of people wanted a run pass option with McSorley and maybe something to Juwan Johnson or
here's
KJ
another thing too about that. I think it was kind of an RPO, but if you watch that, Freiermuth is like wide open running down the field. And to be honest, man, like speaking of 2017 Ohio State, if he throws the touchdown to Freiermuth on that play, Trace McSorley would probably have been in the Heisman ceremony. That's how close he was to, like, just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a tremendous, he's a tremendous player. I mean, but that's the difference. We couldn't run it when we needed to. And
Brett,
This is a team that
you have anything
we're
else
going to be able to run it when we need to.
I don't know. I think we covered most of the bases on this game. Yeah, I mean, I think Nick's 100%. Hopefully, I mean, he was in practice, so we'll see. I think he was just
100%.
sick. He was just sick or something, wasn't he? I think he was just. I think it was more of an illness than it was an injury, from what I was hearing. But I don't know. Either way, Nick Singleton's not. He wants to play. He's gonna bully people.
He's 100% for the game.
Yeah, I think
he's gonna be good.
I mean, what are we gonna do? Like, how are we gonna score? I mean, running game, like passing game, what
Everything.
are we gonna do?
I think we're gonna do everything.
Last week they underutilized Tyler Warren in the passing game. I mean, he had a few catches, but I see him having a big day against USC up the seam. We had that pass all year. Let's go, Tyler Warren up the seam.
Are we gonna have a 100-yard back this game?
Yeah, we may have two. Okay. I'm telling you, we may have two.
People are gutting USC's defense with running. I mean, Minnesota put up 200.
Mark, this is going to be. This to me is one of the games that you're going to be like, wow, they were prepared. They were prepared for this game because the players have been looking forward to this game. I mean, nothing in the first 5 games could have excited them or their staff. This is a game where you're going to be like, wow.
Man. Yeah, revenge, 100%.
They're prepared, they executed, and they took it to them. And I think this is going to be a statement win for the program, even though USC isn't a great team, but still to travel across the country and win in a fashion that I think they're going to win. I think fans are going to feel really, really good about it. I just don't see USC have a real clear path to win this game.
And another bright side, we're recruiting in California now. So the quarterback that we recruited from California was at the UCLA game last week, I think. I'm pretty sure he'll be at this game. It's right down the road. And then the cornerback, Darius Dixon from California, I don't know if he'll be at the game, but I imagine they're trying to get him on the field for that to see Penn State beat a California team. And then we're continuing to recruit receivers and other athletes in California right now. So it's big. It's huge for that too, for people that are from California to see Penn State come through here and show them what physicality really is.
Yeah, I think USC's in for a bit of a wake up. You know, I think they
are like a big wake up call. Yeah.
And hey, man, if we win this game, we beat Lincoln Riley, and in my opinion, he's a good coach, man. He is. Like,
how is he a good coach? Tell me how he's a good coach.
Well, he has multiple Heisman winners under his belt, for one thing.
He's
gotten good quarterbacks. Yeah, he's an okay coach. I don't think
he's that good. I think he's.
Yeah,
I think he's the most overrated coach in college football. Okay, I mean, last year USC underachieved. Year before they underachieved. They lost to Tulane in the bowl game.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, he took advantage of a bad Big 12 when Texas was completely down. I mean, who was in the Big 12? Who were they really playing, guys? I mean, remember, Texas was down the whole time he was there. Who was really there? No one.
Well,
and not only did they look bad in the college football playoff, but they looked overwhelmed. Remember the Jalen Hurts team in the Sugar Bowl? They were overwhelmed. The Kyler Murray team in the Orange Bowl versus Alabama, they were overwhelmed. Blowing that lead to Georgia in the Rose Bowl. I mean, he has some pretty bad marks on that resume with the Heisman quarterbacks, Mark. With the Heisman quarterbacks, year after year after year after year. Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams. I don't think he's that good a coach.
I understand.
I don't.
I understand the whole him being overrated. I totally understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is we can't underestimate him.
I'm for what? He don't have the players, right? Like Caleb Williams ain't coming out the door. Mike Williams is not playing receiver. Reggie Bush, This
Yeah,
is
and
not like look
a
at the
quarter of
roster.
their
Forget
stadium, dude. A quarter of their stadium doesn't even have fans in it. It's such a weird stadium.
Yeah, well, it's not a good fan base, right? Like they show up for 2 games, right? They show up for Notre Dame when they come to town, right? Every other year. And then they used to show up for UCLA when it was a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But that's pretty much it. Right? But
yeah.
I don't know.
They have good skill players this year, but they do not have the line of scrimmage to make everything click. So that's what it comes down
exactly. And that's what I think Penn State's going to do. I think they're going to have 5 defensive backs on the field at all time, and they're going to force them to be patient with the run. And USC is not going to be patient with the run, nor do they have the personnel to be patient and execute consistently against Penn State's front against the run. That's why I think Penn State, I feel really good about them in this game. You know, I feel really good.
Yeah, I do too, overall.
Yeah.
But if you guys, I wish I could find that picture of our boss in LA. But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, please donate to the links below to help the flood victims. Good cause there. And we will see you guys Saturday. I'll probably, Brett, if you're, should be good for Saturday to record. Matt, if you want to come on, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I'll be around.
Maybe have Jared on again. It's 3:30 game, so we'll probably be on around like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Probably have Jared on again too. But yeah, guys, thank you, Matt, for coming on again, man. That's an iconic jersey you're wearing right there. That's pretty crazy.
Who do you guys want me to wear on Saturday? I'm trying to decide.
You got a Barkley? I'm sure you got a Barkley, right?
I don't really wear that one. It's one of the only ones I don't wear.
Well, who beat USC from Penn State? Kurt Warner. Do you have a Kurt Warner jersey?
I don't have a Kurt Warner.
So the last time they beat USC was what? The kickoff
Curtis
classic
Enos. I got a sick Curtis Enos.
All right, yeah,
worn
Curtis Enos,
97, but it's a blue.
That's all right.
All right. I like the connection. Good connection there. I'll wear it. I'm good. The 39.
That's what.
I'm ready to see the crispy whites this weekend. My favorite jerseys, the away jerseys.
Those road whites.
Matt, didn't they play USC in MetLife in like 2001?
Yeah. I have some really cool pictures I took at that game.
Yeah, you were at that game. But did we win?
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. No, they lost. Larry Johnson blocked the punt for safety. Rashard Casey was a quarterback. USC had like Carson Palmer, Sultan McCullough. But we were just coming off losing a lot of the defensive starters from the 99 team. So like Anthony Adams was a freshman. They had like Justin Karpakis, Shamar Finney, Bruce Branch, Matt Seneca was a quarterback. Brian Johnson was a freshman, wear number 7. That was his first game.
Brian Johnson was 7, really?
Yeah, in his freshman year. I had a really cool picture of...
He was a freshman in 99.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sophomore. I apologize. You are right about
he wore
that.
7, really? Interesting.
He wore 7. Yes. And yeah, there was I took a cool picture of Tony and Larry Johnson warming up in the end zone.
Oh yeah.
And
I saw that.
Tony's first game, and then Larry's second full season. But Larry blocked a punt in that game. I wound up getting the safety, but that was pretty much it. Yeah, that was a frustrating year. 2000, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
that
it was.
was another time.
Well, it was like 06 and 2010. I mean, they came off of 2 really good good seasons. After those years, and Anthony Morelli was. Don't even get me started on him. Do you have an Anthony Morelli jersey?
I don't have an Anthony Morelli jersey. I've come in my later years to be empathetic and appreciative for what he did for the program.
He had a good record.
I mean, listen, his career probably didn't go the way he wanted 100% as a 5-star guy playing with all those star players. But, he stayed committed to Penn State. He flipped to us. He was a 5-star guy. He played as hard as he could. And it was, to a certain extent, a square peg round hole with some of the pieces, and Darryl was a little bit better fit for the offense when he came in.
Yeah.
But it was I've come to appreciate him more.
Yeah. No, he had a good, like, if you look at his record, man, like he had 2 bowl wins. I think he had 6 career losses. So overall, pretty good.
But all of them to Michigan and Ohio State, and that's what drives us fans.
Yeah,
nuts, right?
But he was the number 1 quarterback in his class that year out of Pittsburgh.
He was, yeah. No, he was. I mean, there's been a lot of 5-star quarterbacks that haven't, panned out, and there's been 3 stars that have been good. But he flipped from us, and I respect him because he committed to us, guys. Remember, we sucked in 2003. I mean, we really sucked.
Oh yeah.
And he flipped to us, and you know that 2004 season. So I respect that I think he wanted to come here and make a difference and play. And it didn't work out to exactly the way he wanted, but I have a lot of respect for him doing that. Same thing with Derek Williams' commitment, right? I mean, and Justin King before that. I mean, those were some down years. Yeah. And they came despite challenging circumstances. And
it was huge.
Yeah. But he's running a really successful quarterback academy now in Indianapolis. And one of his pupils or students, I don't know what you call them, was playing at San Diego State, starting quarterback as a freshman, Danny O'Neill or something like that, doing well. So he's doing good. And he was friendly. I met him at the Big Ten championship game in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
He was in the club section, real nice. Actually mailed him a card he signed and sent back to me. Nice. So I have a soft spot for him a little bit, but understand every fan's frustration with him at the same time.
Yeah, Matt, you and I could talk for 8 hours straight about Penn State, but and I'll keep in touch with you about that LeVar jersey. So
no problem.
If I get it, man, it's gonna be right here.
All right.
So all right, guys. Thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate it. We're almost at 500 subscribers. Please help us get there. We're climbing slowly. Once we get there, channel will be monetized, have memberships and everything. So, Brett, thanks again, man. Matt, thanks again. Always good to have you on. And I'll see you guys Saturday.
You got
it, Mark. You guys enjoy the game. Have a good night.
Yep. You too,
thanks, guys. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Mark.
Yep. See you.
See you, Brett.
Peace.